What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching Bumblebee's Journey. This is just a web series where we're talking about the Bumblebee solo film in the Transformers Cinematic Universe. This is episode number 23, and the first thing you're probably thinking is, what am I wearing? Well, it's Chinese New Year. This is a traditional Chinese shirt that I'm wearing that I bought when I was in Hong Kong, and I'm just representing my culture because it's Chinese New Year. Just want to represent, and I'm filming this during the Chinese New Year 2-weekend celebration. For those that don't know, Chinese New Year is celebrated over the course of 2 weekends, and it's a lot of food and family gatherings, and also a lucky money, as well as line dances. A lot of fun. A lot of people get together, and it's a pretty big deal for us Chinese folks. And also, it's a big deal for a lot of non-Chinese folks who like to celebrate other cultures. So I just want to say, Gong Hei Fa Choi, Sunli Fai Lok. That means Happy Chinese New Year to you guys. Wishing you good health and good fortune and happiness all around. Anyways, what else do you guys notice? Well, look around. It's pretty empty around here, and that is because, if you don't already know, I made a big announcement on the Ragin Nation Facebook page that I'm actually moving. This room has seen a lot of filming. I started the channel back in 2010, and that's like almost 8 years now, because I started in, I think, May of 2010. Anyways, this room has seen a lot of action in terms of filming, and I'm moving. And it's kind of bittersweet because I'm happy to move into a brand new, more evolved studio space to film in. It's going to be more professional looking, but there's a lot of history here. You know, I'm sad to see it go, but at the same time, I'm happy for the evolution of my channel, because I'm evolving as a video producer, evolving as a video host, evolving as a YouTube channel. So we gotta evolve, and that's actually happening. Stay tuned for the big announcement when I do actually move. We're gonna make everything look more professional. It's gonna be more exciting, got more video web series to go through with you guys, and we'll talk about that later on. But let's get on with this channel, get on with this show rather. With this episode, you'll notice that the title says, what if Bumblebee ends up sucking? Or what if Bumblebee sucks? Well, that's a really, really good question. Because what if Bumblebee sucks? What's gonna happen? Well, there are a lot of things that could happen, but really, there's only, you know, one big thing that could happen. But before I talk about that, I want to follow up on something that I mentioned in the previous episode. In the previous episode, episode number 22, I talked about the one thing that will make Bumblebee great, in my opinion. There's something that they need to do in the Bumblebee solo film to make it really, really great, and I said that it is connecting the Bumblebee film with the 2007 Transformers film, the very first film directed by Michael Bay. And that, I thought, is something that it falls in line kind of like the same way that how Rogue One connects directly with Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And when it did that, the fans loved it. So it's, you know, a callback to the fans, or a callback to the original film. And by doing that in the Bumblebee film, it really calls back to the original film, which so many people loved so much. So that's why I thought it was a great way to end the movie, and it'll make people have a great impression, especially the fans. Now, there were some things that I kind of need to follow up on, and that is, thank you so much for correcting me. In that video, I kept on calling it the 1988 Camaro, which Bumblebee would transform into. It's actually the 1976 Camaro, and a lot of people corrected me on that. Thank you so much for correcting me. That's my bad. I just wanted to say, you know, I made a mistake there, so thanks so much for correcting me. 1976 Camaro is the correct one, not the 1988 one. Also, another thing I want to mention is that after I made that video and put out my idea for the ending, a lot of people made a comment saying that, hey, that's the exact same idea that I got. And in fact, I think I talked about that before. And you know what? I'm actually so glad a lot of people commented that, because it means we are all on the same page. We have the same vision, you know what I'm saying? And we have the same like wants and needs for this film for it to be good. We have certain expectations, but those expectations are the same. And I'm glad that people are on the same page as me. So thank you so much for mentioning that, and thank you for agreeing that this is a great idea for what's gonna make the film great, if it does happen at all. But the fact that you guys also agree with it, and the fact that you guys also came up with that, really shows me that, you know, we are on the same mindset. And I love that, because you know, when the movie ends and that actually happens, it's kind of like a celebration for all of us. So that's definitely a really, really great thing. And you know what? Great minds think alike. I mean, it really is a great idea. And finally, last thing I want to do before I move on to the topic of this episode is I want to clarify something, because I want to read you this comment that was posted on the Facebook page of the Ragin Nation. This was posted by Shane Platt, and he mentioned this. Let me pull up the comment. Hold on one second here. Okay, so it says right here. It's loading up. Give me a moment. It says, here we go. Okay. Hey Alex, I love your idea for the ending. The only thing is, if this movie takes place in the mid-80s and the first movie took place in 07, Sam probably was at least a baby. But I guess B could just be looking for the family. Hope they do this though to tie it all together. Thank you so much, Shane, for bringing this to my attention. Allow me to clarify. So I was thinking that the way Bumblebee could end would be two options, or rather one of two options, and that is it could end in 1988, which is when Bumblebee takes place, or end in 2007. So let's talk about if it were to end in 1988. What would happen at the end of the movie is Charlie and Bumblebee would say their final goodbyes. It would be a very emotional, heartfelt, teary goodbye, but eventually Bumblebee has to go his own way because he hears the voice of Optimus Prime calling in through his radio, and he's saying, Bumblebee, you must find a Witwicky. You must find a person surnamed Witwicky, because he holds the key to finding the Allspark. And then Bumblebee says that he has to go on a mission, he has to leave Charlie, okay? And then it would end with Bumblebee just rolling off into the sunset, end credits. So that's how that would end. Sam does not exist yet. He doesn't even know who Sam is. He doesn't know who Sam Witwicky is at all. All he knows is the name Witwicky. Therefore, the Witwicky family, therefore exactly what you mentioned, Shane, whereas he's only looking for the family because he's looking for the glasses, those glasses that will help in searching for the Allspark, all right? So that's one option. The other option is for it to end in 2007. So what would happen is that, once again, Charlie, Bumblebee would say their emotional, heartfelt goodbyes, and then he says that he's going off a mission because Optimus Prime's voiced by Peter Cullen, would tell him that, okay, you're on a mission. And then it says, 19 years later, we fast forward to 2007, and then you see Bumblebee actually scanning a 1976 Camaro, and he's looking for Sam Witwicky. We don't actually have to see Sam Witwicky. We don't actually have to see Shia LaBeouf, like a young version, in the film. We just need to see Bumblebee scan that 1976 Camaro, and then drive by Bobby Bolivia's used cars. And then it would just end right there. Therefore, doing what Rogue One did for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, which is tying it in directly. That would be awesome. So like I said, it could either end in 1988 or 2007. Either way, it doesn't matter as long as they do it. It's just such a great opportunity that I really feel that Paramount Pictures should not miss. Don't miss this opportunity. I'm really like begging them, don't miss this opportunity to close off this film. You know, just end it on a really positive note, and that's the way to do it. So there you have it. Anyways, let's talk about what if Bumblebee ends up sucking. This is a really, really good topic, because you know, it really depends on the level of suckage. Are we talking about the last night level of suckage? I mean, that's at least my opinion. Let's talk about this. Okay, so what if Bumblebee ends up sucking, okay? What if it's a really, really bad movie? Well, there are three aspects to this, and that is like the critics, the fans, and the studios. Like, how does the sucking affect the critics? That's the first thing, and then the second thing is the fans, and then the third thing is the studios. First thing, let's talk about the one that matters the least, the critics. Okay, so if it ends up sucking, critics are gonna give it a bad score, a bad review, and this review will end up being aggregated on Rotten Tomatoes, and then it'll end up being having a low score in line with Revenge of the Fallen, Age of Extinction, and Transformers: The Last Night. Therefore, solidifying the fact that a lot of fans that are no longer fans anymore feel that this franchise should end.
Okay, that's what's gonna happen if this film ends up sucking. Critics will critics will give it a low score. Rotten Tomatoes will give it also a really, really low score, and therefore nobody's gonna watch this film. Okay, that's what happens if it ends up sucking. Well, how does it affect the fans? Well, I'm a fan. I'll tell you how it affects me. It doesn't really affect me that much. I'm gonna give you my personal and most honest thoughts about this film. I'm gonna tell you that if it ends up sucking, then it sucks. That even if it's good, then it's good. But it doesn't affect me as a fan, because at the end of the day, I love this franchise. You know, they give me a certain level of excitement and enthusiasm that I get out of these films. Bumblebee won't be any different, because I'm really excited about it, and I'm actually quite optimistic about it. I think that this film will actually do quite well, just because it'll be different. I want to see a change. I want to see a fresh take on the live-action universe, and that is happening. Travis Knight is giving that to us. So, but as for the rest of everybody else, there are really two types of fans. There are the Transformers fans that used to have faith in this franchise, but then they don't anymore. After what happened with Transformers last night, they are absolutely against the idea of any more live-action films under the production of Michael Bay. All right, they're just done with that. And then there are fans like myself, which you know, maybe they loved the other previous films, or they didn't like it, but they still will remain loyal to it. So in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, okay? But if it ends up sucking, then, like, if you didn't like Transformers last night and you didn't like Transformers Age of Extinction, then how does it make you feel now? Probably not so good, because, like, it's already been 3 films worth of suckage, you know? So that's unfortunate. Now, how does it affect the studios? Like, this is the really, really big one, because the studios, regardless of critics and fans, the studios are the ones who make the decision. For this film to have a positive outcome for the studios, it has to make a lot of money. So, this film is not a gamble for Paramount Pictures. It's not. All right, let's be completely honest here. This film is not a gamble for Paramount Pictures. This film does not even matter if it ends up really sucking that much. And, you know, for critics and fans, it could suck, but for the studios, it can only do well or it can bomb, okay? And whether it does well or whether it bombs, it doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter, because this gamble has such a small investment compared to the other 5 films that this is just chump change to them. Keep in mind that this film is budgeted at $70 million. That's a $70 million production budget. So it doesn't really need to make that much money to turn a profit. Okay, let me be completely like fair in the marketing budget, and let's just say that, let's round it up. Let's make the marketing budget $130 million plus $70 million production budget. $200 million is their break-even point. Do you think that they're going to make $200 million? I'm pretty sure they're going to make $200 million. Even at the lowest amount, Transformers last night made $600 million. And that's still a profit, because a $217 million production budget and another $200 million for marketing budget, it still made a big profit. Not a monstrous profit like Age of Extinction and Dark of the Moon, but it still made a profit. Very small profit, but still a profit. So really, it's not that big of a deal if this movie bombs. And it really, honestly speaking, it really only needs to make $300 million for it to be a successful film. They get back their return on investment plus $100 million bonus as profit, revenue. So I really don't think that this film is gonna bomb for the studios. As for the fans, I still think that the movie is going to do well. As for the critics, it's a bit of an uphill battle for the Transformers live action films, because of how critics feel about Michael Bay. There's already this built-in hatred for a Michael Bay produced Transformers film that he's already got -3 points out of 10 just by default. So that's really, really unfortunate. But if it sucks, then really, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that people should worry that much about it, just because it's really not going to affect the studios that much, considering the fact that all 5 films in the past have turned in a pretty monstrous profit, except for Transformers Last Night. But as for the other ones, they did just fine, and the studio is doing just fine. Bumblebee is not going to make or break Paramount Studios. Bumblebee is not going to make or break this franchise. Believe me. Now, I'm talking about this on Chinese New Year, on February 16th, the weekend of Toy Fair. And I'm sure you guys have already seen that announcement for another Transformers film, potentially a reboot. I'm not going to talk about that in this episode because I really don't know what is going on. Don't we have an animated Cybertron prequel tentatively titled Transformers 1? Isn't that happening anymore? I really don't know anymore after what I saw today. So it's hard for me to comment on what's going to happen next because I don't know if the Cybertron prequel is happening anymore. So I can't really comment on that. But I will comment on a potential reboot that's coming up in the next episode. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to film it right now, as a matter of fact, which means that if you're done watching this, most likely episode number 24, this Toy Fair episode, has already been uploaded. So go check it out after you're done watching this episode because I'm going to have something to say about that reboot. Alright, anyways, that's all I gotta say in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name's Alexi. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.